Yes, yes. Welcome in. It's Balloon Party, driven by Mungan S. Burkhardt, Alton Toyota. 101 ESPN on YouTube. My name is Tim McKernan. Look, there's Jackson Burkett. What do we got going on here? I'm wearing a powder blue St. Louis the morning after in the script shirt. Jackson's got the Run TMA hoodie on. Hoodie would be a good move in here today. There's a nape in the woods, neck of the way. What are you doing here? Lacey Underalls, Ty Webb, Caddyshack, 81?
80.
Is that right?
Same year as Airplane.
All right. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Yep.
Thank you. Get involved on today's show because today's a Thoroughfare Thursday on Balloon Party. Jackson, tell the people what the Angry Beaver Thoroughfare Thursday is.
So the Thoroughfare Thursday.
Because Doug Vaughn insinuates that means you have nothing planned, and I reject that.
Yeah, Doug, it's not only the way, like what he says, it's the way he says it. He's like, oh, so you got nothing. It's like, no, Doug, that's not the case. What the Thoroughfare Thursday is it opens up the show,
right,
and it lets not only our listeners who like to text in get involved, but those on the YouTube page.
Yeah, like Tiny PP.
Like Tiny PP or Droid FX get involved, and they can kind of, control the show in a way. They can control some topics, or I have some topics prepared. It's really just a wide open show. When you have something like the Thoroughfare Thursday, anything can happen, and that spontaneity, it's the spice of life.
It's like the Groundlings, Second City. It's improv,
right?
And some people would say, well, that just shows you didn't prepare. And I would say you're right. But that doesn't mean we can't enjoy ourselves on a Thoroughfare Thursday.
Right, exactly.
Thank you.
Preparation is overrated because what you can't prepare for is excellence in broadcasting.
Wow. God, that's a T-shirt. Ladies and gentlemen, that's Jackson Burkett. He's only 25, and he has that kind of wisdom?
Yeah,
you horse plowing me here today? Is that what you're doing?
Not at the moment, but this is the kind of guy I am. It's why HD2 beckons, and I answer. Nicely done.
I'm that type of guy. All right, well, I want to go with the question. Let's let the people know. What did I say? I'm a Venmo $30. I'm up to $30. I had a good weekend last weekend. The Venmo's been replenished a little bit. If there is a topic that comes in via text or YouTube 101 ESPN channel, Air Alliance team cameras making that possible. I assume Tiny Peepee's in there holding court. And then I'll get your Venmo or PayPal. I don't really use PayPal as much. What do we use to transfer cash around?
If I were to rank them, number 1 would be Venmo, number 2 would be Cash App, and number 3 would be Zelle.
Nice. There you go. Yeah, I guess I use 2 of those 3.
Yeah.
Right.
Cash App's nice.
You doing live read, bro?
No. I doesn't really. I have some friends who only use Cash App, so.
Oh, like Herb or Sweet Sweet Kai?
MPK.
Oh, MPK.
Yeah.
Well, he's a mover and shaker. Ladies and gentlemen, our first question.
So the topic on everyone's mind this morning, and I say everyone, and that's not true, but
Kerry Davis, I saw Kerry Davis, and he said that's what they were talking about in the first segment.
It is certainly a big topic, not only locally, but nationally. I mean, this is a 5-star player. This is one of the best players currently in high school football who was yesterday committed to the University of Texas. I'm talking, of course, about Ryan Wingo, St. Louis University High School's own, St. Louis's own. He was between Texas and Missouri. The experts were predicting Missouri up until yesterday, and then some uncertainty came in. And then, of course, at about 4:12 yesterday, Ryan Wingo put on a Texas hat and said he is committed to the University of Texas.
Jackson, what were you doing at 4:12 yesterday?
I was actually on the golf course.
Bogey?
No.
Log cabin?
No, TPC Forest Park.
Oh.
Yeah, the course is at.
So you weren't even watching?
Oh, I was watching.
You were?
Uh-huh. I had it on my phone. I had an uphill, I'd say 18-foot birdie putt right before the announcement. Missed it just a touch left, but I gave it a chance. Went a little long, gave it a chance.
I like that.
Don't like giving birdie putts short after birdieing the whole previous, and missed it.
Humble brags.
And then
uncomfortable.
Hit play, and as I hit play, walking off the green, Ryan Wingo put on a Texas hat.
And then you immediately double bogeyed 3 of the next 4 holes, a triple on the one that you didn't double.
Bogey the next 2 holes.
Yeah.
Close it out. Yeah,
you were in a bad place.
I was.
You got to be able to compartmentalize what a 17-year-old does with your golf game. So I was stunned, but throughout the course of the day, Gabe Yarmond, who we had on Power Mizzou, who is a regular on this program every Friday, presented by the great James Carlton of the Carlton State Farm Insurance Agency, my insurance agent, online at carltoninsurance.net, had reported that things had changed and that it kind of quieted down. And as I watched the opening of the live stream, in which some of our audience members from TMA began to harass him, do we have that?
Yeah, I'll pull it up.
That audio at your disposal? Because I was watching the live stream. 4,500, I believe, is the peak number of people who are watching this live stream with the Colonel. And the Colonel said the sense at St. Louis U High is that nobody knows what is going to happen. And so something had changed over the previous approximately 24 hours. And so what had gone from confidence that he was going to choose Missouri, something had changed. What do we have here?
Do you want Gabe on
dealing with the audience?
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
No doubt. Here we go.
Lenny, I appreciate the super chat. Therefore, I'm going to put your comment on the screen. I will remain fully clothed as I do on all of our live shots, despite Tim McKernan's audience, wishing otherwise. But do appreciate all you guys being here. Up to 2,400 people. Brandon says he can't hear. I need to know, guys, if you guys are having trouble with audio or anything.
That was just the start of a bad 4 o'clock hour for the Colonel. First one, and for the record, I think that was slanderous to say that was somebody who's an audience member of mine.
Gabe's a handsome man. People just,
Yeah, I mean, right now I'm sure like Tiny Peepee's asking me to take my shirt off. I understand. Listen, that's the price with being an Adonis.
Right.
But for him to label it as being one of my audience members, he'll be hearing from counsel. That kind of goes without saying.
Right.
But then the Colonel was one person, so they couldn't hear. The audio was perfect the whole time, and it just threw him off. But then the next 10 minutes would get worse for the Colonel because, of course, when you report something and then it doesn't happen, all hell breaks loose for you, the reporter, which is why to all those, and I know a lot of young people listen to this show and they play it at MICDS and Burroughs in the hallways. If you are pursuing this career, number one, don't. But then secondarily, if you follow through and don't listen to my advice, the juice of breaking a story is over here. My tiny little pincers. I got tiny hands because I'm a small boy. Mm-hmm. And then over here is the squeeze.
Yeah, right.
The juice being the upside, the squeeze being the downside. And now here is Gabe Yarmond, gentleman who I went to class with for so many years at the University of Missouri. We had big dreams of doing big things. And I said, someday, 25 years from now, Gabe, I'm going to be doing an hour on HD1.
Yep.
Middays, too.
Yeah, right.
And, am I dunking on people that I called my shot right now? Well, here I am.
Yeah.
Here I am. And I said to myself, this poor Colonel, he's going to get blamed for something. And here's the thing. In my mind, Ryan Wingo was going to the University of Missouri on Tuesday. And then he got a call or some kind of meeting with someone from Texas who said, hey, Ryan, we're going to up our offer to this. And then Ryan, like, for example, I would say damn near anybody who's ever chosen a job chose the one that was offering more money and then went to Texas. That's all. Meryl Streep, Devil Wears Prada. Adrian Grenier, best actor, best supporting actor.
Yeah, that's what a miss for the Academy there.
Thank you. So that's it. And as a Missouri fan, I'm disappointed. But as somebody who has made business decisions that are, I'll say it, rooted in money, think about that.
I'm on it.
I go, must have got more money from Texas. That's NIL. Cuts both ways. Oh. Enjoy having some guys come to Missouri who never would have considered Missouri before NIL. Well, then you got to understand that if Texas comes in and goes, here's another X amount of dollars, and it's more, and it's enough to change his mind, that's the way that it works. And I just don't. I don't see it any other way. We had Gabe on this morning, despite the fact that he is going to be sued for defamation by my counsel. He's still kind enough to come on. It shows the sporting nature of the Colonel. Here is what the Colonel's analysis was.
I actually had conversations with a couple of people yesterday when I got to SLU, because I'm telling you, nobody in that gym knew where that kid was going for sure. At least not that I talk to. And some of these are people that would probably be in a position to know. But we had a conversation that I said, just the way the last couple weeks have gone, I think it's Missouri, because if it's not Missouri, like, there's going to be a lot of backlash here. And it just seems like if you were going to announce for somewhere else, maybe you delay this a little bit, or maybe it's not as public. But hey, the kid made his choice. It surprised me. It surprised me for those reasons. I mean, I'm not shocked he went to Texas. We knew yesterday that was a possibility, but I just thought, I don't know, in the hometown, all the area media out there, everything's been pushing this way. I think it's really tough for him to get up there and not pick Missouri, but he did, and he admitted it was tough,
And so that was the Colonel's analysis. Jackson, you have a theory.
I do.
Ladies and gentlemen, Jackson acknowledges this is his tinfoil anthracite theory?
Yeah, my anthracite tinfoil true sun theory.
Okay.
So
you acknowledge
side.
that you may be coming from a biased perspective.
Absolutely, Tim.
We all have to acknowledge our biases.
100%. Now, while acknowledging it, it doesn't remove the merit that it could have. But this is purely speculative.
You have a really tough time with that, don't you?
Speculative?
Nice.
All right.
Yeah, see, it's not that tough.
Right.
Oh, you're a prince.
I try to be. So hear me out here. Let's say Ryan Wingo, he went down to Texas in September. He liked Texas a lot. Obviously, very easy to like Texas. It's a quintessential national brand. Let's say he liked Texas. He's like, all right, I think I want to go here. Missouri comes along with their very good NIL laws, meaning that you can get paid immediately once you sign with the University of Missouri or commit to the University of Missouri. He likes that idea. He starts to put in motion that he's leaning more towards Missouri. The right people hear these things. Now Missouri is in the lead to get Ryan Wingo. What does that do to Texas? Now they're considering maybe we got to up our offer. Then he moves up his commitment from December 20th, which is the
signing day,
and he moves that up to yesterday. Texas hears this deadline. They go, okay, we heard you, Ryan. Now, night before, here's some more money. Now we got a bigger deal for you here, Ryan. What that does to Missouri now, because there's still 2 months until signing day, is they have the choice to either up the offer and flip him, and he gets his money immediately, or they don't, and he's still going to Texas and making a lot of money. So he kind of gets his cake and eats it too. He can either get his money immediately and more of it, or he's just going to get a ton of money from Texas and get to go play with Arch Manning in Texas. It's a win-win for him, and that's kind of the nature of it. He has created leverage. He's created the bidding war. That is my anthracite tinfoil hat theory. So I'm not, when I say, he did commit to Texas yesterday, his father said it.
Yeah, do we have that audio?
Is it
that because Frank Cusimano of News Channel 5 spoke with Ryan Wingo's father. And I have to tell you, there's this whole thing about Ryan saying, well, I'd known for 2 months that Missouri fans are holding on to, and going, well, if he knew for 2 months, then he was just dragging Missouri through the mud as leverage. I do not believe that statement. I'm not angry at him, but also if you listen to the audio, Frank goes, what do you mean you've known for like 1 or 2 months? He goes, yeah. You can just kind of tell he's just, 48 hours ago, I think Ryan Wingo was going to Missouri. Mm-hmm. Now, do I have any proof of that? No, I do not. I believe Tuesday night, Wednesday morning, whatever it was, Texas came in and said, here. And he made a decision based on the money. And by the way, God bless him. Absolutely. I mean, if other people don't make decisions based on money, I envy them. But then you had this happen. And this is Frank Cusimano of KSTK with Ryan Wingo's father, moments after Ryan announced he was going to Texas.
He made the decision he thought was right. But are you aware that there could be ramifications? People locally, they're going to be really ticked off. And we know how crazy college fans can be.
Signing day, December the 20th. You never know what can happen. Signing day, December the 20th. You just never know what can happen by then.
So you're saying you'll still accept Mizzou's recruitment?
Yes, sir.
I mean, if we just, for the sake of the discussion, said he picked Missouri yesterday, and then Frank does an interview with his father and says, what happened to Texas? And then he says signing day is December 20th, and that you'd still accept recruiting from Texas, Missouri fans would be like, what in the hell was that?
Right.
So What I think happened, and this is what Gabe said this morning when he joined us on TMA, is he was so unsure. I think it shows perhaps deep down he really did want to go to Missouri, I think. But the money, in my opinion, again, this is all theory, was so overwhelming from Texas that it's like, well, how can you not do this? But Gabe said he was driving to St. Louis thinking there's a chance there won't even be an announcement today.
Yeah.
Because and if you're waffling, why make the decision? Theoretically, you don't have to make a decision for months, not even December 20th. That's just the first day you can sign.
Yeah.
But perhaps inadvertently, because I think this thing, it was sloppily handled, he may have created a spot where Missouri now goes, okay, deep down he wants to come here. We just got to come up with X number of dollars. But as Gabe said, based on the way this was handled and the headaches, is it something you even want to continue to pursue? And maybe you don't want to continue to pursue it. But the thing that I would say is there are only so many five-star receivers from your home state. And does it become more about that element than the headaches, the juice and the squeeze that I was making reference to that this recruiting process has caused? Because 48 hours ago, I can say I had people texting me he's going to Missouri. I just didn't go on the air and report it because nobody would care what I had to say anyway. Juice squeeze also because I dealt with that. Somebody texted me before Rick Majerus was hired. You know, what are we talking about? 16 years ago that Majerus was getting hired. And then I, was barely 30, and I'm like, I've got breaking news. Look at me. Rick Majerus is going to be the next coach of the Billikens. And then it didn't happen for like a week, and so for a week I was excoriated for this, and then it wound up happening. But either way, if I go back, I would never say it, even though I, quote-unquote, was right. It's just not worth the hell you catch. There's not a doubt in my mind, there truly isn't, that he was planning on announcing Missouri. And then Texas came up with more money. And it's just very ABC to me.
Yeah.
But I still could see a chance that he goes to Missouri.
Right.
But that has nothing to do with me going to Missouri as a quote unquote alma mater, or alumnus, I should say, and it being my alma mater. It's just these things, these guys, this is what happens in this era of NIL.
Yeah. And on my anthracite tinfoil cap theory, if you're operating under the assumption that Texas brought more money on either Tuesday night or Wednesday morning, and you're Ryan Wingo and you're planning to announce, and you want to create a bidding war, you commit to Texas because you're accepting their offer. You have now set a new price. If you were to say Missouri there, Texas is done. They're like, all right, they might continue to recruit and maybe up the offer.
I don't think it was thought through to that level, but I think by accident that may have happened.
Right. Because now Missouri has the opportunity to re-up.
Yes. Your thoughts on the topic are welcome. 314-399-9646. It is a Thoroughfare Thursday. Those are the Air Comfort Service text line. This is Balloon Party, driven by Munganess, Burkhardt, Alton Toyota on 101 ESPN and on YouTube. Welcome back. Balloon Party. 101 ESPN YouTube. Text in Thoroughfare Thursday. 314-399-9646. Jackson Burkett, Tim McKernan with you here on the show. It's unbelievable what's going on. Jackson likes my hat today.
I do. Big time. Big time fan.
Let's see if anybody can guess where the hat is from.
Yeah, I will say.
I'll Venmo you $5. The first person who guesses.
I will say
Look,
that
I just give money away. What is the deal with that? It's bad management. It's bad management.
Yeah, but it's incentive is what it is.
I want to incentivize the audience.
And
Did I
there's
say
nothing wrong with
$5? $5. I'm thinking $5. And I'm also giving away $30 to a question in the text inbox, Air Comfort Service text inbox, that gets my synapses firing here for Thoroughfare Thursday. And then $5 for who I guess it would have to be either in the text inbox or in YouTube. And Tom Summers and Jeff. Is it Close or Kloss?
It's like Kloss.
They're talking it over along with Tiny PP, Brett S., and, of course, Soup's in there, and Eric Nickens.
Soup.
Yeah.
There's this guy named Soup.
Yeah, Jeff Soupon.
Favorite soup?
I hope this doesn't convey unrelatability, because I just had it one time, probably when I was bussing tables, and we had it on draft.
A tap.
But lobster bisque.
Oh,
and I know
yeah.
that's more of one of your answers.
That's good stuff.
And I was probably bussing a table at, like, one of your parties.
when I was negative 12.
But, yeah. Otherwise, I'm not really a soup guy, I'll be honest with you.
Really?
You know what I am? Meat and potatoes guy.
You're right. You're right. Would you consider chili a soup? Because if so, I'm all in.
I would not.
Okay. Well, then I'll go tomato.
Your favorite soup, and where is this hat from? Feel free. Oh, somebody got it.
Yeah, someone nailed it.
Tip of the cap.
618.
STL Chris P. Oh, I'm in the YouTube chat. Who got it first? STL Chris P or 618 Jackson? I'll just send $5 to each one of them. We're just giving it away. All right. What's the next question here? Or is it already 11 o'clock?
We got a little time before that. I'll move off Missouri quickly and talk about St. Louis City SC.
That's the right. I was hoping you were going there.
Yep.
That's the right one.
Yep. St. Louis City SC.
Taking on, as they call it, Kansas.
It's right in my question, baby. We taking on Sporting KC, or as the doggy social media team likes to call them, Kansas.
Right.
Do you think a matchup like this will naturally get more casual fans into the series? And then from a macro perspective,
Yeah, I'm a big macro guy.
What are your thoughts at the Gen Z style shade that pro sports social media teams partake in?
Oh, wow. I mean, you went with the 2-foot putt, and then you go, hey, I got to tell BK and Ferrari I need another 2 hours if you do that. All right, question one. Is this going to get more people interested because they're playing Sporting Kansas City?
A casual
I've got
fans.
so many thoughts on this. Like, this might be the rest of the show. Taylor Twellman can scold people for the 9 o'clock. The 9 o'clock thing is a negative. There's no way to spin. And I understand where he's coming from because he's enthusiastic about it. And that's, but 9 o'clock has a negative impact. I mean, there's
no doubt.
You can't spin it any other way. You can love soccer and still acknowledge that. And so, whether it be children not being able to stay up who otherwise would, or people who would want to go to the game and go, God, I got to get up at whatever time to go to work on Monday. It's an MFer. It is. It sucks. It's nobody's fault.
Right.
But it's just, it's a bad beat. I think that reduces relative to what it could have been if it were, take your pick of, it would have been prime to have it like on a Saturday night. I know they couldn't because the Western Conference's play-in game was last night and the Eastern Conference's was the night before. Or I think it was anyway.
Tuesday night.
Was it Tuesday, right? New York one?
Yep.
So with that all said, still, I think it adds to it. I can't help but say this because I've seen it. It used to be in St. Louis, for real. We go, why are they so upset with us in Kansas City? What is this Kansas City thing? Mm-hmm. Be like if Des Moines was chirping us. And now it's like, oh, God, we're at a point now where we're going, Kansas City's our rival. I'm just going, Oh, the last 25 years. What have we done? What have we done? Who's leading this operation? So that's unfortunate because Kansas City used to have this thing with St. Louis. I really don't know what it stemmed from. My conspiracy theory that really isn't a conspiracy but comes from some Kansas Cityans is that the one championship they had was against St. Louis, and said, well, it was tainted by a call. And it was.
championship.
but it would be tilting, which is when the Blues were playing the Bruins, I didn't want them to be shorthanded because I wanted the Blues to win their first Stanley Cup against a great team firing on all cylinders, and not because take your pick of whomever wasn't healthy or you had a bad call. And if you recall, in Game 5, there was some controversy on a call. I know you don't recall that, but there was in Boston.
I'm trying to remember.
Yeah, and that I don't know, they waved off a goal or a goal shouldn't count, whatever. Point being that and I'm like, oh, I hope that doesn't become the story of the series, and then the Bruins won here, and then the Blues won there, and I don't think that even lingers for people. With that said, I think that started Kansas Cityans having this thing with St. Louis. Then St. Louis got an NFL team back, and then it really intensified when the Chiefs were so good in the 90s, and the Rams come out of L.A. and out of nowhere and win the Super Bowl, and Kansas Cityans are going, oh, my God. And then that just made it even more of a thing.
Right.
But I would always go, what is the deal? Because nobody in St. Louis really talks about Kansas City. But I got these guys who I know from Mizzou who are obsessed with St. Louis. And they go, well, you're just saying it's not a rivalry, which proves it's a rivalry. Like, no, we just don't talk about it. It doesn't matter. It's not because St. Louis is New York or L.A. or London. It's just we don't think about it. I don't know what to tell you. And then the next thing you know, now it's like, oh, this is great. It's a rivalry. I'm like, oh, I guess. I don't know. I mean, I suppose it's better than San Jose.
Yeah.
I'm interested in it just because it's our team's first playoff series, you know.
Absolutely.
So I know this adds to it,
Yeah.
but I just can't help but taking a step back and go, oh, God, we're at a point now where we're talking about the rivalry thing. But I'm sure it's good for marketing and business. And your second question, I got to take a break.
Okay.
And then I got to tend to it.
Yeah.
What do you think I think of? What is your question again so the audience can...
Sure. From a macro perspective,
Of course.
What are your thoughts at the Gen Z style shade that pro sports social
I don't
media
look at it as a
teams?
Gen Z thing.
Ooh, I
Go ahead,
get
I'm
it.
sorry.
No, okay. We'll get more into that into the next segment. Thoughts of the Gen Z style shade that pro sports social media teams partake in.
What do you think I think of it?
Oh, I think you're really into it. I think that I see you quote tweeting GIFs on top of it and then saying, ooh, bad look. And then you drop this king with the crown emoji. You're like all into that stuff. That's where my thoughts are.
It's
Hope I'm
like
wrong.
Carrot Top on Twitter or Instagram. It's just, God almighty. And then the same people say, boy, people are really rude to each other on social media. I'm like, but don't you think? All right, well, we'll talk about it. Maybe I got to PayPal you $30 because that's the one.
I'll waive that.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Balloon Party on 101 ESPN.
This is Action Jackson with a SportsCenter update driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. The Blues are back in action tonight, taking on the Calgary Flames, and you can catch that game right here on 101 ESPN. Pre-game starts at 7 p.m. and the puck drops at 8. And last night, most of the NBA teams got underway, including number 1 pick Victor Wembanyama and the San Antonio Spurs. They unfortunately fell 126-119 against the Dallas Mavericks, but Wembanyama shined with 15 points in his debut. That was another SportsCenter update driven by Johnny Londoff. Find new roads and shop 24/7 at londoff.com and londoffAutoplex.com. Are you kidding me?
Excuse me, I'm just going to send Eric some money real quick.
Yeah, text Bill real quick.
Eric, I just Venmo'd you. Eric guessed the location of this hat.
Yep.
Those of you watching on YouTube. It is from Grove 23, Michael Jordan's golf course in Hobe Sound, Florida. A friend of mine gave it to me a couple of days ago.
What kind gesture?
Yeah, it was. It wasn't even on my mind.
Yeah.
Didn't even know the person had played it.
It's a sweet lid is how I describe it.
You like that?
Sweet lid.
And then I texted, so I sent that to Eric in the YouTube chat. So he got that, but then there was somebody who texted it in as well, and I texted that person asking for their Venmo. So I'll text the commercial or the text inbox in the commercial break. So I'm just giving out money today. That's what we're doing. Balloon party where you get paid to listen.
Yeah, that's a nice slogan right there. New promo writer.
Yep.
He's
Jackson,
not listening.
No, that's the problem. I got to pay him. Jackson, what was this question that you posed that I really enjoy and I feel like I should Venmo you $30?
Sure. So the question I had regarding St. Louis City SC taking on Sporting Kansas City, what is your thoughts on the Gen Z style shade on social media?
Are you Gen Z?
I am.
Okay.
Yeah, the Gen Z.
What am I?
Generation X.
Am I?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So I am a young Generation Xer. I would have been an old millennial.
Yeah. Bingo. Yep.
And what are you on a Gen Z? Are you right in the sweet spot?
I think I'm right in the sweet spot.
And what's the generation after you?
I think Zoomers is what they call them.
Oh, is that right? Okay.
Zoomers, yeah.
Why are they called Zoomers, Brad?
I assume it's a play on boomers, and then because a lot of these kids are going to school on Zoom for that COVID period.
Learning things. I'm learning things on my own show.
Yeah, I think I could.
So you say this thing with the go ahead with the question.
Sure.
Keep interrupting.
It's all good. What are your thoughts on the? I'll just say social media shade that pro sports teams.
Well, colleges do it as well.
Big time. Yeah.
I just think it's stupid. That's all. I think it's stupid. Like it's not. It's like watching a Jay Leno monologue. All due respect, I'm sure there's some fans in the audience here, but you're just like, saw that coming. Cute. You got them. Get your likes.
Right.
Yeah, get your engagement. Enjoy your $20K a year. All due respect. It's tired. It's hack. I'm sure one organization did it a couple of years ago that was probably relatively cutting edge. And now, the Utah Jazz are doing it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. It's a engagement
It's like
vehicle.
Facebook in 2007 versus Facebook in 2023.
Yeah.
Holla if you hear me. Tupac 1991, 3 straight days.
Consider me hollering.
Yeah. So you know what I'm saying?
Yes. I think it is. I would agree. It is tired. I see it and I'm just like, I get.
So you agree? You don't agree with me. You like this. You have to like this.
I think it's amusing. I find it funny, but not because I think like, oh, nice GIF. I think of it because it's like, it's funny in the sense that like, I see the stuff and it's just like, why? Like what's
like the Cardinals started doing it.
Oh yeah. And I'm
just like,
And I want to preface that like I'm not like blaming individual social media managers of teams.
Correct. It's just, but. You know who I respect?
Who?
Everybody's doing one thing, and somebody goes, it's not.
The one who takes the path less traveled.
Oh, the road less traveled. Bobby Frost.
That's Bobby, the great Bobby Frost.
So I'm just like, it's funny, dunk on him.
There it is. And it's just such a Like if you're doing it as a
and this is being very serious. Mm-hmm. And it's not because if anything, it's just Barry Sanders scored 1 million touchdowns and he would school you while he was running into the end zone. He didn't need to then turn it into, and listen, and he just tossed the ball to the official. Now, I know that is going to align me with a lot of people who normally hate me. But I'm telling you what I'm just like, like we've seen it, certainly not necessarily this year, but, there's times as a passionate Missouri football fan, I can't recall what it was, but like they're down like 30-0 and they score a touchdown and then you're going, dude, you're down 30-7 now. It's not, let's have some perspective. It isn't all about, I got no love for getting you likes. Now, if getting you likes led to money, I'd get it. But getting you likes fills this emotional void that social media has created that I think has played a role in psychologically damaging a generation of people. And by the way, not just people in their 20s or teens. I've got some people I went to school with, some of these momtrepreneurs, and I go, oh, God, what happened?
That's the reason I don't like it, is because...
You don't like momtrepreneurs either?
Yeah. Go get your bag, queen. But what I'll say is, I don't like that, this stuff, because what they're doing is somewhat innocent, but what it leads to is, people just acting poorly on social media, which is the crux
then leads to people treating people poorly and destroying discourse.
It's the domino effect.
So I believe it has an impact on greater societal issues.
Yes.
That is... It normalizes being a dick.
Yeah, bingo.
Can I say that? If not, I'm fine. We had a good 2 years.
We got thumbs up.
I'll go do my TMA thing. But that's it. It normalizes being unkind.
Yes. So that's where I'm at with it. That you explained it better than I could in that sense, because I think it is a domino effect of it creates a platform for people to just act poorly, and then that further creates the snowball. It's frustrating.
10 years ago, I believe it was 10 years ago, maybe it was 9. The Cardinals were playing the Dodgers. Either way, I know they played them in 13 and they played them in 14. Once in the NLCS in 13 and once in the NLDS in 14. Beat them both times. Matt Adams got them in Game 4 and 14, and Matt Carpenter had a sick at bat against Clayton Kershaw in Game 6 and 13. Either way, there was some comment from Adam Wainwright, who couldn't be, I couldn't hold him in higher esteem. And I thought that before 2013, and I think it now, and I know many people who are listening feel the same way as far as the way he conducts himself, both on the mound and away from the game. And there was some celebration, and then Wainwright said something along the lines of, we don't need to do the Mickey Mouse stuff, And then the Dodgers, I think it was Adrian Gonzalez, did the mouse ears thing. And that became a huge topic of conversation. Now, a decade later, Adolis Garcia is literally doing a 360 and then slamming the bat down. And I got to tell you, neither one of them really mattered. It's a celebration. God bless America. You hit a huge home run. Remember the Jose Bautista home run that was such a controversial topic? I think that was against the Rangers for the Blue Jays 8 years ago or something like that.
Yep.
But conducting oneself and how you interact with, I guess I put it this way. Would you say that to somebody in person?
No.
You know what I mean? And so so often when I'm doing these sound story interviews and I'm interviewing somebody in their 70s and 80s, and it's the tie that binds. They may have different views on politics, not that that's the topic, but they'll sometimes bring it up. Certainly different backgrounds. Sometimes they grew up in rural areas. Sometimes they grew up in, take your pick of whatever area of St. Louis or another metropolitan area. But across the board, so help me, and I know you're doing one at 11:30. God, man, 90% of the people. God, the thing that really concerns me most is the way that we talk to each other. Mm-hmm. And I'm going, man, here's somebody who's lived it and who's seen it. And that's where I'm coming from. And I guess if it were amusing, I love watching roasts, you know what I mean? I loved George Carlin. I worship at the altar of George Carlin, but it wasn't cutesy dunking on strangers.
Right.
And that's I think the discourse on social media has played a role in the division in real life. And that is why I look at it and go, oh, that's cute. Carrot Top now has a toilet he's going to wear on his head. Ah, wonderful. Right. This just doesn't do it for me. Anyway, we got a break, I'm sure. You're listening to Balloon Party, 101 ESPN. Welcome back, Balloon Party 101 ESPN. Tim McKernan, Action Jackson with you. Another, what do we got, 8 minutes, Jackson? Wow, the show flies.
Fastest hour in sports radio.
Is that what they say it is? It's driven by Munganess, Burkhardt, Alton Toyota. We're on YouTube. See what's doing in there. Make sure everything's good in there. Yeah, Tommy Summers is talking. YouTube, Aero Alliance team cameras. And then, of course, 101 ESPN. Miss Anything, Dobbs Tire and Auto Center's podcast. You had some good questions here. Well, let's see if we can keep the momentum going.
I don't see why
it's
not.
a Little Piddles Angry Beaver Thoroughfare Thursday.
That's right, Tim.
All right.
Big macro question in the wake of Ryan Wingo committing to Texas.
Macro.
How many fans do you think have the ultimate mindset and shoot for the stars when it comes to their team year in and year out? How many do you believe subscribe to the moral victory model and accept being competitive but are disappointed?
God, it's like you cut up a bunch of white horse in front of a former coke addict.
That's my job.
You know what you're doing.
That's my job.
You know what you're doing. You pride yourself on the fact that we never get through these half and halves and Thoroughfare Thursdays and weekend wrap-ups and Friday shoot-em-ups.
If I do my job well, we don't get through more than 2 questions.
And is that a shot at Matt Rocchio, who brags to you when he fills in for you that we get through all 6 questions when he hosts?
No,
or
because
when he sits over there and asks me questions.
Right, there it is. No, because he brought it up to me, and I was like, and he was like, so what do you think? Like, we usually get through. I was like, well, I think ideally you don't get through all 6. Matter of fact, ideally you get through 1.
Matt Rocchio was going to that's Matt Rocchio's
But he agreed. He was like, yeah, you're actually right.
Yeah.
That is the play.
Yeah, I mean, you're hitting me with this one. This is in reference to something I said today on TMA.
Yes.
Which was, I think Missouri fans, and I've always felt like up until June 2019 that Missouri fans and St. Louis Blues fans, while not a lot of overlap on the Venn diagram, at least going back, have a lot in common. Mm-hmm. 2 tortured fan bases.
Yeah.
But now the Blues have experienced a championship, and so now they are moving up to a deluxe apartment in the sky. High. Jefferson's.
Yes.
Jefferson's, that cute little Sherman Hemsley.
It was sampled, actually, on a Schoolboy Q song that I really like.
And we're going to get into that tomorrow, actually.
Yes.
But I feel like the coping mechanism for Missouri fans, as a Missouri fan, by the way, is, oh, that's fine. Yeah, I mean, that's, who would have thought we'd be 5-1? So, yeah, maybe we could have beaten LSU, but, who would have thought we'd be 5-1? Well, I mean, that's the deal. Ryan Wingo is wide receiver. We got Luther Burden. That's fine. It'll be fine. And so what I am prognosticating, should it not go well between the hedges, and the line is out on a reputable sports book, the number is 15.5.
Correct.
For the opening line. That, of course, can change based on the health of Georgia coming out of Florida and how they play. Georgia minus 15.5 against Missouri next Saturday. Then if Missouri loses by like 10, what will we hear? You know what we'll hear. Just go ahead and say it. Don't be scared. I don't care you're 25 years old. Say it.
Well, at least they hung in there.
Ah! And that is why, in addition to Gary Pinkel in 2001 scolding my KMOV photographer, cameraman, if you would, gentleman by the name of Gary Womack, great guy, great lensman. And he was a big Tennessee fan. And he wore his Tennessee hat, as he always did. Missouri wasn't in the SEC at the time. Tennessee was like playing in Major League Baseball, and Missouri at the time was like AA. And so I didn't think anything. It didn't cross my mind. Now, oh, my God.
Yeah.
But then, didn't even cross my mind. And so Pinkel walks by my photographer and says, hey, would you take that, don't be wearing that thing around here, something like that. And my photographer says, excuse me? And then Pinkel saw that they were about ready to do the team photo, and everybody started staring. So all the guys were around on the team and the media. And he walks up and he goes, hey, I'm trying to build something here. I'm trying to do something. And you showing up here with another school's hat, it just doesn't send the right message. So if you could take it off and put it back in the car, I'll give you a Missouri hat while you're here. And then you can put the other hat on. I don't care. And I'm like, and then that photographer said to me when we got in the car, he goes, that guy is going to play for a Big 12 championship someday. I'm like, Missouri in the Big 12 championship? That was my mindset. And then like a couple years later, they lost to Texas. Same school that got Ryan Wingo yesterday, Jackson. And somebody said, something about a moral victory, because we don't do moral victories here. You either win or you lose.
Bingo.
So how many opportunities do you get a chance to beat the defending national champion, the two-time defending national champions with a 24-game winning streak in their building between the hedges, to have a landmark opportunity for your program to stop kicking off at 11 o'clock and play for championships? And when somebody chooses to go to Austin, Texas instead of Columbia, Missouri, well, that's a shame. I guess you didn't get a good offer from Missouri. In order to achieve, you have to visualize. And in order to achieve, there are no such things as moral victories. There can be progress, but I don't wish away the LSU game as going, no, well, they played them tough. That's LSU. I think Missouri might be a better team than LSU this year. It sounds blasphemous, but I really think that could be the case. So it sucks. Accept the pain. It's part of growth. Same thing with Ryan Wingo. A bunch of wide receivers. He doesn't seem like a kid that you'd want anyway. If you would have said Missouri yesterday, that wouldn't have been what you said. Mm-hmm. And so it could hurt, and it should hurt. If you have an opportunity to beat Georgia, you're damn right it should hurt. And so accept the emotional risk of investing and caring. Moral victories or for those who want guaranteed paychecks and to sit in a cubicle. You know what I want to do? I want to take a chance. I might slice it up with a razor blade, but I'll get the high. But I'll also get the low.
Yep.
But I want to see this team win a championship. And therefore, it also is part of the fan base to accept the fact that sometimes it's going to hurt. And yesterday hurt. That's just the reality of it. LSU hurt.
Yep.
And there's nothing wrong with if they lose to Georgia going, man, that hurt. Yeah, they were close, but you know what? They should be close.
Absolutely.
All right?
Absolutely.
So stop it, Jackson.
I am king of
what? What are you the king of?
Well, not much, but I'm certainly a champ.
You know what you are? You're the king of weight loss and hair regrowth.
I wouldn't go that far. I'm maybe at best like a lower lord, but either way.
A lower lord?
Yeah. Well, I'm certainly not a serf. And then on, I am a champion of trying for championships.
Wow.
Because I think
well said. It was like I was watching JFK there.
Well, to an extent, I think that's what Kerry Davis is talking about. Like, because the Blues, like you said, won the Stanley Cup, and that is the championship for hockey.
Look at that. In case anybody didn't know that, cut that as a promo.
But for Missouri, I think some Missouri fans view going to the SEC championship or winning that SEC championship as like the best Missouri can do, and that's not the case. They can compete.
Thank you. Start believing. Testify.
The championship isn't the SEC championship.
Testify.
The championship certainly isn't the SEC East championship.
Testify.
It's winning the whole damn thing.
There you go.
Playing on January whenever on Monday.
Inject it into your veins, King.
Right here, baby.
You dropped your crown, King.
Yeah, now you sound like the Bengals social media team.
Time for us to go. BK and Ferrari up next. For Action Jackson, I'm Tim McKernan. This has been Balloon Party, driven by Mungan S. Burkhardt, Alton Toyota on 101 ESPN and on YouTube.